How dare you cause us so much? I will never spare your life. You are such a disgrace to fatherhood. Marcus Williams had been married to his wife, Sofia, for over some years now, and they had a son named Jackson. One evening, after a long day at the office, Marcus returned home, looking forward to spending a quiet night with his family. But the moment he stepped inside, something felt wrong. He found Jackson crying on the living room floor. Beside him, Marcus's father, Chief Williams Daniel, sat calmly, while Sofia was quietly peeling an orange. "Dad, what happened?" Marcus asked, his voice tense. Sofia looked up, her face calm. He spanked Jackson, Marcus," she said softly, as if it were nothing. Marcus felt his blood boil. Anger surged through him. For years, his relationship with his father had been strained. Now, seeing him hurt his own grandson was the last straw. Without thinking twice, Marcus picked up the phone and called the police. Within minutes, officers arrived and took Chief Williams Daniel away for questioning. Marcus watched his father being led out in handcuffs. There was a strange mixture of relief and guilt swirling inside him. Relief that justice was being done, but guilt that it had to be his own father facing it. As the door closed, Sofia's reaction shocked everyone. Instead of panicking, crying, or scolding Marcus, she simply stood there, calm and steady. "Marcus, maybe this is the chance to finally see the truth," she said softly. Her voice was quiet, but it carried a weight that left Marcus speechless. Marcus had no idea what she meant, but soon the police investigation began to uncover secrets that had been hidden for years. Truths about his father's dealings, past betrayals, and dark family secrets. Marcus realized that this one action, arresting his own father, would change his family forever. And Jackson, still crying softly, clung to his mother, unaware that tonight would mark the beginning of a family reckoning that no one could have predicted. A week later, Chief Williams was released. The police decided that it was a family matter and that Marcus and his father should try to solve their problems at home. When Chief Williams returned, he found the house quiet. The car in the driveway was gone. He realized that Marcus, his wife Sofia, and little Jackson had left. Inside the kitchen, he saw only his wife Helen Williams, quietly making food. "Where's Marcus? Where's Jackson?" he asked, trying to keep his voice calm. Helen looked at him, a little sad but composed. She said, They went out. I just saw Marcus and his family leaving. I think they needed some space." Chief Williams smiled, but it wasn't his usual smile. It was strange, like a mix of relief and something hidden behind it. Then he quietly went to his room, leaving Helen to finish cooking. As he sat alone, memories began to flood back. Marcus had always felt that his father had been too harsh during his childhood. There were strict rules, punishments, and expectations that Marcus never understood. Sometimes, Chief Williams's anger had made Marcus feel small and powerless. Marcus had tried for years to forgive him, but old wounds stayed deep. Seeing his father hit his own son even lightly had pushed Marcus over the edge. It was not just about the spanking, it was all the hurt, fear, and tension from the past that came rushing back. Marcus realized that maybe Marcus's actions were not just anger, but a cry for the family to face the truth. And now, with Marcus gone, he finally had a chance to reflect, to think about the mistakes he made and the distance he had created between himself and his son. Marcus and his family were now settled in their new apartment, but there was a secret he hadn't discovered yet. One morning, Sofia was taking a shower while Marcus prepared for work. Suddenly, Sofia's phone beeped twice. The second notification caught Marcus's attention. Curious, he picked up the phone and read the messages. The first text said, Why did you leave the house with him? The second read, let's meet at 6 p.m. at Hayvack's bar. Marcus couldn't believe what he was seeing. His own father was texting his wife in such a strange and suspicious way. His mind raced, wanting to know exactly what was going on between his father and Sofia. Quickly, he copied the address from the message and set the phone down, pretending nothing had happened as he continued getting ready for work. Just then, Sofia came out of the bathroom. She noticed her phone on the counter and picked it up, seeing the message. She froze for a moment, but quickly composed herself. Then she said to Marcus, "Will it be okay if you pick up Jackson from school today? I need to get some things from the market on my way home from work." Marcus nodded, hiding the storm of emotions brewing inside. In his mind, he had already decided to follow her and see for himself what was really happening. By 5:58 p.m., Marcus had parked his car a safe distance from Hayvack's bar, quietly watching. He didn't want to jump to conclusions, he just needed to be sure of what he was seeing. 5 minutes later, his father's car drove into the garden. Marcus's heart skipped a beat. He watched closely, his stomach tightening with a mix of anger and unbelief. And then, not long after, Sofia arrived as well. Marcus's heart sunk. Seeing his wife there with his father in a secret meeting felt like a knife twisting in his chest. The betrayal, or what he feared might be a betrayal, hurt more than he could put into words. He wondered silently how long this had been going on, and whether Sofia had been lying to him all along. Once he had confirmed what he came to see, Marcus turned and quietly drove home, his mind racing and his heart heavy, unsure of what he would do next. Hours later, Sofia returned home carrying a nylon bag, just as if she had really been to the market. Marcus looked at her, feeling like a fool in the middle of a game he didn't fully understand. Yet he kept his feelings hidden. He didn't say a word. Instead, he went into his room, turned on his laptop, and pretended to be working. Inside, his mind was racing. He was trying his best to avoid Sofia while secretly planning how to gather more evidence. He kept wondering, what could that meeting have been about? Why would my father be meeting her in secret? The questions gnawed at him. The story was only getting more complicated, more interesting. 2 weeks later, Marcus decided to take a more serious step. He hired someone to secretly follow and monitor both his father and Sofia. He wanted to be absolutely sure about what was really happening. He paid generously for this service. Marcus wanted concrete proof before confronting either of them. A whole month passed before the investigator returned. Marcus's heart pounded as the agent handed him a thick brown envelope. Trembling, he opened it. Inside, he found everything he had feared and yet couldn't have imagined fully. There were pictures of his father and Sofia together in a hotel room, smiling and looking completely at ease. But the envelope revealed even more than just this shocking betrayal. Marcus learned that his father was involved in a dark, illegal business. That was why his father had never shown him love, never wanted him close, because he didn't want Marcus to find out about the secrets he was hiding. Now, with the envelope in his hands, the truth was finally about to come out. The secrets that had haunted Marcus for so long were ready to be revealed, and nothing would ever be the same. Even with all the evidence in his hands, Marcus didn't want to confront his wife or his father. At least, not yet. He kept his anger and suspicion bottled up, carefully hiding his thoughts. But Sofia had already started noticing that something was wrong. Marcus had stopped being affectionate towards her, and his distance did not go unnoticed. One morning, a sudden, shocking thought crossed Marcus's mind. He needed to know the truth, not just about his wife and father, but about his own son. Doubt gnawed at him, and he decided to take a DNA test for Jackson. Jackson, now 14, looked up at his father as they drove to the hospital. The tension in the car was thick, but Marcus didn't speak. At the hospital, the test was conducted quickly, but the results would soon change everything. When the doctor finally handed Marcus the envelope with the results, Marcus's eyes barely skimmed the paper and he fainted immediately. The shock was overwhelming. The doctor and nurses acted quickly, reviving him, but nothing could erase the moment from his mind. From that instant, Marcus was never the same. The results revealed a truth he couldn't bear. Jackson was not his son. He was, in fact, his father's child. The betrayal cut deeper than anything Marcus had ever imagined. Worse, Jackson had seen his father faint and heard everything. Marcus's mind raced with confusion, anger, and disbelief. He could not understand how life could twist in such a cruel way. The sense of betrayal and the painful truth of his own family left him shattered, unable to trust anyone, not even the people closest to him. Jackson was now in high school, and the tension at home had been building ever since Marcus discovered the shocking truth. Marcus, unable to face Sofia or confront his father, felt completely trapped and hopeless. Despite living in the same house, he and Sofia barely spoke, the silence between them heavy and suffocating. One day, Marcus decided to call his mother, Helen, to come over while Sofia was at work and Jackson was at school. When Helen arrived, Marcus was clearly in distress. He pulled out the DNA result and handed it to his mother, his hands shaking. Helen's eyes widened in disbelief as she looked at the paper. She couldn't believe what Marcus had discovered. Without saying a word to anyone else, she immediately wrapped her arms around her son. "Oh, my boy, why are you in so much pain?" she asked softly, trying to comfort him. Even though she was heartbroken by the shocking truth about Chief Williams, she did not confront him. Instead, Helen quietly packed her bags and left the mansion without a word, needing space to think and to protect her son from further emotional turmoil. Meanwhile, Jackson was unaware of the full situation at home. He was at school, focused on his own life, while Marcus and Helen struggled with the weight of the family's secrets. Over the next month, Helen rented a large mansion in the city, planning to stay there with Marcus and take care of him. Her goal was to help him recover from the shock, support him in handling the betrayal, and create a safe environment for both him and Jackson away from Chief Williams' shadow. One evening, Jackson put on a black hoodie, pulled the hood over his head, and quietly slipped out of the house. His mind was filled with anger and confusion. Without thinking twice, he headed straight to Chief Williams' mansion. When he got there, he pushed the door open and walked inside. The house was silent. Chief Williams was lying on his bed, asleep, and even his maid was fast asleep in another room. Jackson didn't stop there. He went straight to the study, the room where Chief Williams kept all his documents. He opened drawers, searched shelves, and gathered every important file he could find. Personal documents, business papers, and especially the ones that exposed all of Chief Williams' illegal activities. With the stack of files in his hands, Jackson returned to the bedroom. He stood at the foot of the bed and woke him up, pointing a gun at him. Chief Williams opened his eyes in shock. Before he could speak, Jackson poured out everything he had been holding inside. The anger, the pain, the betrayal. Words rushed out of him like flames, each one fueled by hurt. Then, in a single, sudden moment, he pulled the trigger. He stared at the man who had turned his entire life upside down and whispered, "Rest in peace, Chief Williams. You are a disgrace to fatherhood." He dropped the gun on the bed. Jackson hurried back home. When he arrived, Sofia was awake and crying. She had come home earlier and discovered that Marcus was gone. Helen had taken Marcus to stay with her, but Jackson didn't notice his mother's presence or her tears. He went straight into his room, ignoring her attempts to speak to him. The next morning, Jackson received a message from Marcus. It was an address, the location of the new mansion where Marcus and Helen were staying. Without hesitation, Jackson packed his bags. He walked out of the house without saying a word, leaving Sofia alone and confused, not knowing the storm that was about to fall on the family. The next morning, the police arrived at Chief Williams' mansion. They searched the house, investigated the scene, and confirmed that he had been murdered. However, there were no fingerprints, no camera footage, and no clear traces that could lead them to the killer. The case quickly became complicated, and the police were left with more questions than answers. Meanwhile, Marcus was slowly healing. Staying with his mother, Helen, gave him strength. She cooked for him, talked to him, and helped him let go of the heavy pain that he had been carrying in his chest. Day by day, Marcus began to feel lighter, as though a dark cloud was finally lifting from his life. Soon, the news of Chief Williams' death spread everywhere. Reporters talked about it, neighbors whispered about it, and the entire city buzzed with curiosity. When Marcus and Helen saw the news, they did not feel shocked or shaken. They simply exchanged a quiet look. Chief Williams had caused years of suffering, and in their hearts, they felt he had finally faced the consequences of his actions. Back at the old house, Sofia was trying to keep herself together. She cleaned the rooms just to distract her mind from the silence that had taken over the home. One morning, while dusting Marcus's drawer, she found the DNA result he had hidden. The moment her eyes fell on the paper, her whole body froze. Everything suddenly made sense. Why Marcus had stopped speaking to her, why he had grown cold, and why he eventually left the house. Tears poured down her face. Shame washed over her like a heavy wave. She felt too embarrassed, too guilty, too broken to face Marcus, Helen, or Jackson. She sank to the floor, hugging herself tightly as she cried. That day, Sofia learned a painful truth. Every action has consequences. Always think before you act. If you enjoyed the story, please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and drop a heart in the comment section.